Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I go by the name of Box Truck Shorty, and today, we're going to discuss loads, Amazon load board. What is considered a good load? What do I consider a good load? I should say, not what's considered a good load, because what you consider a good load and what I consider a good load might be two different things. So, what I consider a good load. I'm just going to speak about it off the top of my head. I don't have no script or anything like that. Like I said, I'm new to YouTube. I'm not big on YouTube like that. So what I consider a good load. Of course, a good load to me is pretty much any load that's over like $2 and some change per mile, rate per mile. So that's what I consider a good load, a decent load. However, there's loads that pop up that's $3 a mile, $4 per mile, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram, but it was a load that popped up the other day that was paying $40 a mile, but it was only 6 miles. So that load paid like 240 something bucks. To the average person, they'd be like, oh man, that's paying $40 a mile. It's only going 6 miles. That's $240 for that load. You're not burning no fuel. That is a good load if you own your truck. If you own your truck, that's a great load because you don't really have the expenses of somebody that's kind of renting a truck, that higher rental rate. So that's a great load. However, let's say, for example, if a load pop up and it's paying $8 a mile, but it's only going 30 miles. That's another 200 and something mile load. Is that really a good load? For you, if you own your truck, it might be a good load. But for somebody that's renting a truck, that might not be a good load. Let me break it down for you. When you're renting a truck, or even if you own a truck, you have expenses that go along with this truck. For example, me, I have the rental rate for the truck, which is, a weekly thing. Then I also have fuel, which is, of course, a weekly expense as well. Then you have the driver's pay, which is a weekly thing as well. And then you also have your insurance, which is a weekly thing as well. So I have 4 main expenses that I have to worry about on a weekly basis. So what I do is I get an average of all of those 4 things: the gas, the fuel, driver, insurance. And then I see what I run on a 30-day basis. And on 30 days, I take that number and then I divide it by 30. Whatever I come up with, that is how much it costs me to move them trucks every single day. So that's how much I need to be booking a load over. If that comes out to $320, let's just say for easy math, it came out to $320, that's how much my expenses, for me to move that truck on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, my truck runs 7 days a week. I don't really take off unless something happens to my drivers. I try to keep my trucks moving 7 days a week. So let's just say, for example, that number comes out to $320. So that means that every day when I'm looking at a load or looking at the load board or doing my poster truck, my load needs to be over $320 for me to profit. My driver might profit in that load, that cheap load or the small load. However, I won't make a profit. So it depends on which aspect you're doing. If you're driving, then yeah, that number comes down if you're driving yourself. But if you're doing what I'm doing, which is basically dispatching my own loads to my drivers, that load needs to be above whatever my expenses is for that month. So let's go back to an easy, playing field. Let's say it's $320, where it breaks down on a day-to-day basis for one truck, for that's my expense. So when I'm looking at the load board, I need to book a load over $320. If I book a load that's paying $350, right? That means I would make $30 profit on that load, which is not, I just don't want to make $30. That's not good enough for me. So, however, if I book a load that's below $320, then guess what? I'm losing money every time I book a load. Let's say, for example, that $8 a mile load pop up on the board, right? $8 a mile, and let's just say it's going, 40 miles, right? So 8 times 40, 8 times 4, that's what, 320? So basically, I would just be kind of like breaking even with that load, which I won't lose no money and I won't make no money. I don't want that load like that. So I don't want the $240 loads. The $240 loads, the high, because the shorter the loads, the more Amazon pays. So short loads, Amazon pay a lot per mile. The longer the loads go out, the less they pay. So to me, a $240 load, I don't care if it's $20 a mile. If it's not gonna cover my expenses for that day, for that truck, which is my fuel, gas, driver, and insurance, I can't book that load. I don't care how much it's paying. So at the end of the day, I'm noticing, I look on the load board, especially in Atlanta, and I'm seeing these loads that shoot off the load board, shoot off the load board. And I'm like, who's booking all these loads? I know there's a lot of people that's renting. So I'm just like, I wonder if they are actually doing their expenses and coming up with how much the load need to be over per day in order for them to profit. Because there's no way you can keep a rental truck moving and you're booking loads that's paying $240, $250, $260. That's just not gonna fly. So let's say, for example, my average loads is around 520, right? So if you take 520 and then you subtract, let's say, for easy math, it's going with 320. You subtract 320. On 320 on that load, I would make $200 in profit on that load. So you take 200 in profit, and then you multiply that by how many trucks you have. If you have 2 trucks, that means you will profit $400 that night. If you have 3 trucks, that's $600. 8 trucks, it keeps going on. So the more trucks you have, you can scale it that way. So you don't have to have hit one home run big load. You can kind of average it out that way as well. So basically, in a nutshell, the longer the route, the less the route will pay. Like, for example, if a load is paying anywhere from, let's say, from 150 to 230, 240 miles, that load is usually going to be paying like 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270. Sometimes you'll get a real load that's paying $3 a mile for like 140. I like loads like that. If it's paying like $3.30, $3.40, and it's only 140 miles, that's a good load to me, because I'm not burning that much fuel, and I'm not burning a lot of fuel. So the less fuel I can burn, then that saves me money on, the fuel costs. Also, if you deciding to do the route that I'm doing, which you hire drivers and you're not really as worried about, driving your own trucks, then you have to book loads that make sense for your drivers as well. Like, for example, I pay my drivers on a pay scale. I don't pay my drivers an hourly rate. And let me get into why I don't do that. Let's say, for example, if you have an hourly rate, and let's just say it takes the driver a load just popped up on the board. Nah, I'm gonna let that one go. Nah, matter of fact, let's book that one. Okay, just book that load live on YouTube. Made me lose my train of thought. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me cancel my poster truck real quick. Okay. All right, now I'm back. So let's say, for example, I don't pay my drivers by the hourly. Let's say, for example, like I was saying, if you have a route, and let's say the route takes 6 hours, right? And that's how much it normally would take. And you paying your driver hourly, your driver gonna squeeze you for like another 2-3 hours. So that's why I don't do the hourly route thing, because I already know they're gonna stop and get coffee, they're gonna have breakfast on you, they're gonna run up the clock. So I don't do the hourly pay. I've seen a couple people pay also a percentage of your load. Let's say 20 to 25% of gross, or whatever it is, whatever the load is. The reason why I don't do that is because, think about it, when I started off in January, it was slow. The average load at that time was like 380, 400. Amazon have, an off-peak season, a mid-peak season, and then we about to go into peak season, which we about to make a killing. So let's just go back to when I started. If the average load was $380, $400, I started off, like I said, at the worst time dealing with Amazon, right? So with that being said, hold on 1 more second, a load just popped up on the board, y'all. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so I started in January. So when I started, like I said, it was $380, $400. So if I'm paying somebody 25% of $400, that means that driver would have been making $100, correct? All right. So now let's just say you keep sliding up month to month. Now let's say, for example, the average load now is like about 520, 530, 540. So if I book and I'm paying my driver 25% of that, right? So now that he's comfortable with that, but let's just say tomorrow night it's slow, it's raining or whatever reason, and a $400 load pop up. For him to go them same 180 miles, he might not want to do that for $100 if the load is just paying 400 and it's 135. So he just might decide, start picking and choosing on what routes he want to take. Now let me give you another example. Let's say, for example, when we go into peak season, and the same loads that I'm booking right now is paying $700, $800, $900, $1,000 a load. Do I want to be paying my driver $250 on those same loads that he's doing on right now? So guess what's going to come when it comes back to off-peak season, when it comes back to January and Amazon starts slowing back down? When those loads drop back down from $800, $900, $1,000 to now $400 again. What's going to happen to your drivers? You're going to lose your drivers. Your drivers are going to be gone. So that way, I pay my drivers by a flat scale, no matter what time of the year it is. If they drive 50 miles, they get, paid for a certain amount. If they drive 100 miles, 200 miles is a set pay. I keep my drivers anywhere from like 150, anywhere 150 to like 250. That's where my route. I don't really don't book routes too far over 250. Unless every now and then, that load that comes in Atlanta that pops up, that's like 330 miles and it pays like $900. And, then I'll book that load. That's different. However, the short loads, if I book them for my drivers, I would make the money. So in order for me to be fair, I have to send them a little bit of distance so they can make some money and I can make some money. Because like I said, the short run, if I owned the truck, if I was driving it, I would kill them all day with short routes all day long. You're not burning no fuel, but it wouldn't be fair to my driver. I would be making all the money. So to be fair, I send them far enough where they can make some money, I can make some money. And it's, everybody makes some money. Everybody, we in the game to make money. So as long as my drivers are happy, I'm happy, I can make a little bit of money. I don't have to make as much money as somebody that own their truck, because at the end of the day, I'm not doing no work. I'm not driving. So I'm cool with making the percentage of the profits that I make after all my expenses, because I'm not driving. I'm not doing this full time as a driver or anything like that. I'm running it more as a business versus as self-employed. There's nothing wrong with being self-employed. However, I'm just trying to scale my business and keep it growing that way. Eventually, I plan to put some more trucks in different cities, because one thing about it, when you set up with Amazon, you can branch off and do this anywhere. So, loads pay different in different places. But like I said, if you're on a good load board, you can make pretty good money. But back to the topic of loads. Make sure before you start booking loads, make sure you know your numbers, because it don't make sense to just booking loads and you don't know where your numbers at. You don't know how much gas, how much fuel you're burning in a week. You don't know how much fuel, how much your insurance is. When you're making profits, even on that week, and let's say for example you paid that insurance, your insurance is not due for another 30 days. You need to withhold every week some money for that insurance, because the insurance is gonna come due in 30 days. You can't blow it and spend all the profit. So you need to take, if your insurance is $1,400 a month, then guess what? You need to take $1,400 and divide it by 4. That brings it down to $300 and something a week. Then $300 and something a week, you divide it by 7. That's how much each truck, what that truck is, using for that expense on a day-to-day basis. Same thing for fuel, same thing for driver. Do an average high. If you come in less, that's more profit for you. But you need to know your numbers before you just start booking loads. A lot of people just start with Amazon, they get excited and all happy. I got a $12 a mile route. It's paying $12 a mile, but it's only going 30 miles. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good for Instagram. It sounds good to brag. I got a $12 a mile route. However, that $12 a mile route, did it cover, that's just for what we talking about on YouTube, did it cover your expenses that would have added up to $320? If it's not, you actually paying money just to have that truck. So that's what put a lot of people out of business too. So you have to be very careful and know your numbers. Like, you have to run this thing like a real business. You got to know your numbers. I don't know all of the, the rate per mile of what everybody, speak about outside of logistics, because like I said, I'm not big on logistics. I didn't come from logistics. One thing I know business. I know how to make money. And this ain't my first successful business. So I know how to crunch numbers. 2 + 2 should be 4 no matter where you go. And so just know your numbers when you booking these loads. Just don't run out there and start booking loads just because it pays a lot per mile. Make sure you know your numbers, and that load that you're booking covers all your expenses. You should know that for every load. I know off the top of my head what I need to book, even if it's a slow night, and I'm like, man, I can't get a load paying $520 tonight. I know what I need to book at to be even, at least break even. So that way I can pay for the expenses for the driver, the insurance, the fuel, and the rental. I might not make no money that night, but I ain't losing no money by that truck sitting, because they charge you, like I said, on a week-to-week basis. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Like I said, an organic video off the top of my head. I'm always plug myself. If you are trying to get started in this business and you don't know where to go, don't know where to start, you can always grab my starter pack at boxtruckshorty.com. You can also book a 30-minute, 60-minute consultation. I also have the ride along where I teach you how to, drivers how to, I don't teach you, but my drivers teach you how to navigate through Amazon so you can be successful, because as we all know, those first 3 loads with Amazon is the most important loads you will ever do. Either you're gonna get 100, or you're gonna have early access, or you're gonna have a DOF. Then you're gonna be hitting me up for consultation, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, you rejected a load, you messed up. So it's better to get the education in the beginning. So like I said, once again, thank you. Like button, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. I'll see you next time. All right, take care.